Come, let us practice chant. Take two. Come, let us practice Tantric Chanting to help us meditate like a Jedi. We're going to begin with an excerpt from Nerdy Nirvana, a concise meditation manual. Let us consider the first noble truth. From an evolutionary perspective, stress is anything that circumstantially, physically, interpersonally, or mentally inhibits our ability to survive and thrive as a species. This brings us to craving the second noble truth. We evolved a collection of instincts to survive those stressors. These are fine when used sparingly, but since the Neolithic Revolution, we as a species have been forced to overuse them. Enslaved by the fleeting, short-term pleasures of our dopamine-oriented reward system, we have become defined by our controlling tendencies. And as such, overfocus, overanalyze, and overbelieve to such a degree that we exhaust our dorsolateral and medial prefrontal cortex, which triggers our amygdala, the seat of anxiety and aggression, causing cowardice, competition, and cruelty to be the guiding light by which we needlessly squander our brief human lives. This brings us to liberation, the third noble truth. The fulfillment for which we yearn could only be delivered by our oxytocin-oriented system that rewards for cooperation and kindness. This meaningful path has 8 folds. The path is the fourth noble truth. Let us forsake the exhausting habit of actively fighting against our own autonomic nervous system, the hardware of our Buddha nature, and instead, with it, cooperate. By silently and mentally reciting the verb watch, each time we feel our chest subtly swell as we inhale, and by silently and mentally reciting the verb rest, each time we feel our chest subtly sink as gently we exhale. Let us explore how this works. And we will explore this further in another installment. Oh, look at that. That's not good. Let's go over here. This does not seem to fit. This is... Oh, that's why. Okay. So I'm going over here. And I'm going to delete that. See if it fits then. And it does. Cool. Okay, much better. Let's shuffle down the road. Let's ease on down the road. Having completed our opening recitation, let's take a moment to shift gears. It is Obi-Wan Kenobi Wednesday morning. Let us meditate like a Jedi after about 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is the Dzogchen Senden Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I have harnessed my autistic special interests as well as my ADHD hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I can become your personal, nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to meditate like a Jedi. which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. Let us practice bliss and letting go in such a manner that it feels as if the Force itself is giving us a kiss upon the top of our head. We do this not through belief, not through visualization, but simply by reciting the next 6 syllables. Lama come to pay crown. 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 Let us practice the first set of the awareness and letting go, that is, meditating like a Jedi. Let us rub upon the tip of our left index finger. Let us rest the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger. Okay. Let us practice the first holocron of impermanence and interdependence, the first fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. Let's chant. Rather than indulge our controlling tendencies with our follies of active visualization, emotion, magic, and belief, we could just recite these wise words in harmony with our breathing and allow our subconscious to do the heavy lifting. Let us therefore size up the rigidity that confuses metaphors or statements literal, and instead relax into the flexibility that savors the chance explaining metaphors as similes. All circumstances or lots in the stressors comparing it void could be as impermanent and interdependent as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could telephony absorb into this body or form. Let us divide the silent mental recitation of the 6-syllable synopsis between our inhalation and our exhalation. All lots melt into form. No, this is not an exercise in belief or visualization. By simply passively reciting these words silently and mentally in harmony with our breathing, we're exercising the neural pathways that support the wisdom of letting go. All bodies or forms in the stressors sensual yet void could be as impermanent and interdependent as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could telephony absorb into this communicational speech. All interpersonal speech and its stressors resounding yet void could be as impermanent and interdependent as if it could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could telephony absorb into this mind. All speech melts into mind. All lucid perceiving, emoting, intending, thinking, recalling, and imagining minds in the stresses. Lucid yet void could be as impermanent and interdependent as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could telephony absorb into our vast empty void. Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which although could look tantalizing to the eye, could feel not graspable to the hand. all minds melt into void. Let us practice the second set of awareness and letting go, that is, meditating like a Jedi, the 7th and 8th folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. And quick like a bunny, let's return to the concise meditation manual. During each, let's reset this conversationally. During each inhalation, spontaneous and controlled, the sympathetic nervous system, centered in the middle bit of our spinal cord, is already wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly watch our perceptions. The sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, and scents of the 4 bases of mindfulness: the circumstantial, physical, interpersonal, and mental, including our abilities to emote, intend, reason, recall, and imagine. Instead of indulging our controlling tendencies to shove at circumstantial danger, physical pain, interpersonal scorn, and mental shame, as well as reach for the circumstantial safety, physical bliss, interpersonal praise, and mental fame, let us choose to be vulnerable to all that we experience, from the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. What are we to do with all that we watch? Simple. With every exhalation, the top bit and the bottom bit of that same spinal cord, known as our parasympathetic nervous system, is already wired to rest in such a manner that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, less defining, and even as non-graspable as a vast empty void, with the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn. Which, although could look tantalizing to the eye, could feel non-graspable to the hand. Until, of course, our next inhalation, when the cycle begins afresh. Like the ticking pendulum of a grandfather clock, we continue to watch mind's antics and rest in its non-graspable nature. The acquisition of a new skill could make us anxious and even feel like we, like Rip Van Winkle, could sit to meditate only to open our eyes and find that a century has passed us by. Some have found that the best way to non-neurotically time our meditation is to practice a variation of Bengali crease counting. It could take more than a minute to count 16 inhalations by touching the tip of our right thumb to the creases and tips of our little, ring, middle, and index fingers. It could take more than 20 minutes to count 16 sets of 16 inhalations each by touching the tip of our left thumb to the creases and tips of its little, ring, middle, and index fingers. It could take more than an hour to count 3 collections of 16 sets of 16 inhalations each by using the tip of our middle finger to first support our right middle finger's larger lower knuckle, then support its middle knuckle, and then support its very small upper knuckle, all while resting both hands, palms up in our lap. Remember, that which at first feels awkward could be mastered if practiced once every 12 hours after only a week or so. Let us practice blissing letting go in such a manner that it could feel like the force itself is giving us a hug. We do this not through belief nor visualization, but by simply reciting the following 6 syllables, Lama blend with this mind. If you were hanging out with me on the Clock app and you wish to be able to chant with me, I recommend you joining me on the Tube app. If you're already on the Tube app, you have arrived. Lama blend with this mind. Lama blend with this mind. Lama blend with this mind. And now let us practice the 3rd set of awareness letting go, that is meditating like a Jedi, the 7th and 8th folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. And oh yeah, by the way, let's go over here, hit 1, 2, and delete this, and right. Okay, additionally, by playing with this exercise as a fringe benefit, our choices, utterances, and deeds begin to flow from love's centered spontaneity, which is the sixth fold, the effortless effort of the sixth fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. This is what us big kids like to call one-stop shopping. If you are hanging out with me on I must bring to your attention the fact I'm about to chant, and you can chant with me if you have the chanting guide, which you can get on your screen for free just by joining me on the Tube app. If you're already on the Tube app, stay where you're at. You can join me on the Tube app just by going to my profile and poking around. You'll find the stuff there. Let's see. I want to tap this button. We come now to the holocron of love and letting go, the second through fifth folds of the Buddha's eightfold path. We'll begin by chanting an explanation of this 10-syllable mantra. Om Amaja Tade, the swift and courageous Ratu Tade, you drive away all fears. Heroine with today, fulfilling all aims with so hard, may all be as beneficial as you. Now, you can play with a mantra and feel certain sensations in your body. That's not necessary. Oh, thank you, Ruth. To you I give such a hug. Feeling sensations because we recite a mantra is not necessarily proof that there is a supernatural entity come to bless us. We live in an interdependent world where things affect other things and are affected by other things overtly and subtly, directly and indirectly, immediately and eventually, actually and potentially. We can think of Green Tata simply as an archetype to remind us that our circumstances are appearing yet non-graspable, just like hers. Our bodies are sensual yet non-graspable, just like hers. Our experience of the interpersonal is resounding yet non-graspable, just like hers. Our experience of the mental is lucid yet non-graspable, just like hers. We have the capacity to love, just like her. We have the capacity to allow our actions to be guided by love, just like her. So we use Green Tata as a useful archetype to remind us that we are not mere victims, though we might feel that way for good reason. We are each of us born to be a hero or a heroine. So we begin with the second fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. May all minds of all beings know me as joyfully enlightened as the mind of a real or imagined Buddha, symbolized by a bija, one syllable seed mantra tamoti clay drop. The six-syllable synopsis of that loving wish is, for all minds, great wisdom. Now for the actual mantra meditation. So mantra meditation could be described using a host of synonyms. We could describe it as Mahayoga, which sounds very powerful. We could describe it as Tantra Mahamudra, which sounds very mysterious. We could describe it simply as love and letting go, which is much more practical. Had we practiced love on the inhalation, silently and mentally recite the 6 syllables, for all minds, great wisdom. We don't have to believe, we don't have to visualize, we're just allowing these words to exercise the neural pathways responsible for empathy. During our exhalation, we do 2 things. We physically relax as best we can, while striving to chant the 10-syllable mantra 4 times per breath for a total of 4 breaths. Now, if this is your first rodeo, give yourself permission to have a learning curve. Woof. Om tade du dane nu re suwa, Om tade du dane nu re suwa, Om tade du dane nu re suwa, Om tade du dane nu re suwa. Now there's always going to be some poophead who is rigid and sour-faced and They'll tell you you're doing it wrong and you're going to go to hell. They'll always tell you you're going to go to hell. They'll tell you have to visualize and you have to force yourself to emote certain things. That's the path of the cranky bastard. That's the path of being rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, cruel. And it is a dead end masquerading as a shortcut. The Buddha's path is to be flexible, loving, rational, laid-back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. And to find the method that is the most effective and the easiest and the quickest. That's right. Quick and dirty Dharma. So, let's continue. Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa, Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa, Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa, Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa. Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa, Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa, Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa, Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa. Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa, Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa, Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa, Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa. Once again, if you're joining me on the Clock app, welcome. If you wish to chant with me, you'll have a better time if you join me on the Tube app. If you're already on the Tube app, you have arrived. Enjoy yourself. Then we now explore the third fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. May all relationships, communication, all speech of all beings known be as peacefully loving as a real or imagined Buddha speech or communication symbolized by this horizontal and suitable mantra. For all speech, profound love. As we breathe in, we silently and mentally recite the 6 syllables in their entirety. For all speech, profound love. As we exhale, let us physically relax as best we can while simultaneously striving to chant the 10-syllable mantra 4 times per breath for a total of 4 breaths. Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa, Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa, Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa, Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa. Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa, Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa, Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa, Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa. Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa, Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa, Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa, Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa. If you have a injured or ill friend or partner or relative or a pet, gently laying your hands on them while performing this mantra meditation can soothe them. This is no substitute for medical care, but it's useful when you've exhausted medical avenues. I would not do this before an imaging test because we want the physicians to be able to see people's symptoms in full bloom. Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa, Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa, Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa, Om Tane Du Tane Du Re Suwa. When people come to me and asking for healing, I warn them that I'm the healer of last resort. I'm not a substitute for medical care, just an adjunct. This is not faith healing, this is just playing with EM or electromagnetic phenomena. Nothing spooky about it. We come now to the fourth fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. May all bodies, all forms of all beings know and enjoy the beautiful health depicted in Buddha's statuary of the blissful body of a Devi or Yatama, an archetype of an enlightenment such as Green Tata. For all forms, profound health. Om Tare Du Nare Nuri Sawa, 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 Om Tare Du Nare Nuri Sawa. Om Tare Du Nare Nuri Sawa, 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 Om Tare Du Nare Nuri Sawa. This brings us to the fifth fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. May all circumstances or lots of all beings now have the safety, great fortune, or boon. As a Buddha's real or imagined paradise, per land or vaunty. For all lots, great fortune. Om Tare Du Nare Nuri Sawa, 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 Om Tare Du Nare Nuri Sawa. Om Tare Du Nare Nuri Sawa, 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 Om Tare Du Nare Nuri Sawa. As we sit and breathe and watch and rest, all that we notice could fleetingly and effortlessly come to feel impermanent, evanescent, and utterly subject to change. The more we sit and breathe and watch and rest, the more our angry and aggressive amygdala is calmed. The more our empathetic anterior cingulate gyrus is gently stimulated, so marinating our experience of the four bases of mindfulness, that mentally our intentions are spontaneously kinder, interpersonally our utterances are naturally kinder, physically our conduct is automatically kinder, and circumstantially our commerce is impulsively kinder, thus forging a heaven on earth, eventually a peaceful death, and even an auspicious rebirth, figuratively, if not literally. The more we watch mind's antics and rest in its non-graspable nature, the more we automatically experience the effortless effort, or wu wei, that comes not from calculated contrivance nor from wild scatteredness, but instead from love's deeply centered spontaneity. Let us transcend our elitist conditioning to consider the possibility that enlightenment is merely mastery of this eightfold path. As children, the skills to use the toilet, brush our teeth, tie our shoes, and ride a bike felt insurmountable. And yet, with time and effort and tears, we so mastered these skills that we could perform them spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. Similarly, enlightenment's eightfold path could likewise be effortless. Perhaps that is, did that even make it on the screen? Sorry, I got so excited about reading this, I forgot to check that this fit on the screen, like the big old poop head I sometimes am. Okay, let's go over here and make sure this fits on this page. Good. Let's make sure it fits on this page. Almost good. Okay, so let's go like this. Here we go. Perhaps that is why, in the second to final passage of his discourse on the four bases of mindfulness, the Buddha is said to have explained that one could master this path in as suddenly as 7 days. No, doing so does not mean we'll never experience any pain ever again. It simply means we will have mastered the Buddha's figurative tool chest, with which we could sustainably respond to each sling and arrow of outrageous fortune. So, once every 12 hours or so, may we sit and breathe and watch and rest. Ooh, that was the wrong button. Let's try that again. Okay. In our compassion may we long to free all beings from the toxic tyranny of envy. Hating, raving, and clinging, metaphorically known as the three mental poisons. In all pragmatism, may all liberation of all others be fueled by the three wish-fulfilling jewels of following the Buddha's example, applying his instructions, and cooperating with his students. Having sat for the majority of an hour, or the main part of an hour, you might find it refreshing to engage in some geriatric squat thrusts while conversationally reciting the 8-syllable synopsis of the last 2 pages we chanted. May we free all through the 3 jewels. So, if you have motion sickness, forgive me, but I'm going to swing the camera around. Oh, goodness. Whew. Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. May we free all through the 3 jewels. May we free all 3 jewels. Oopsie, almost fell out. May we free all 3 jewels. All the way down. Here we go. Okay. Let us seal our practice by chanting the wishes for the preservation of the Buddha's teachings. May each meditation teacher truly understand the Buddha's teachings and practice master as well as teach him generously, lovingly, and wisely in the matter of centered spontaneity. May each meditation teacher spontaneously receive generous patrons, enthusiastic students, as well as devoted apprentices. And thus may many Dharma centers be successfully planted, nurtured, and supported. Yes, that makes much more sense. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 6 3/4 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's second Tantric Chanting to help us meditate like a Jedi. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.